Welcome back to the podcast de Philippe. Today we are really diving deep into a topic that's becoming more and more critical, uh, digital illiteracy.
Mm.
And we're going to explore it, especially in France, see how it compares to what's going on in Canada and the USA, and then look at some potential solutions.
Yeah.
We even had our AI do some number crunching, and you might be surprised by what we found. Like, did you know that over in France, 35% of adults have trouble with at least one basic digital skill?
Wow. That's a lot higher than I would have guessed. It really shows how important this issue is becoming.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And in France, they actually have a specific word for this phenomena.
Oh.
It's called electronism. It's more than just not having the technical skills. It's like feeling left out of a society that's increasingly online.
Right. And the sources we've been looking at really highlight the very real consequences of this.
Like what?
Well, for instance, 9% of French adults don't even have internet access at home.
Whoa, that's huge. I can't imagine trying to navigate life these days without internet access.
Exactly. And when you look closer, you see certain groups being hit harder than others.
Like who?
Well, seniors, especially those over 75, also people struggling financially and those with lower levels of education, they often face multiple barriers that make it really tough to get online and develop those digital skills.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the long-term effects on society and the economy when a big chunk of the population can't keep up with technology.
It's a big question. And while we often think of digital literacy in terms of social media or online shopping, it's actually become essential for almost every part of modern life.
Right.
Think about managing your finances, accessing healthcare information, even staying in touch with family and friends. All of that is increasingly difficult without those basic digital skills.
It's a real reminder that digital literacy isn't just a personal thing. It's about fairness, equality, and making sure everyone has a chance to participate in today's world. And based on what we're seeing in France, it's clearly a challenge that needs to be addressed on a larger scale.
Definitely. And it's not just a problem in France either. Our AI looked at data from Canada and the US too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and guess what? Similar trends, especially when it comes to older folks, they're consistently the most vulnerable group in all three regions.
So it seems like no matter the country, seniors are facing similar challenges in the digital age. But are there any differences in how they are tackling the problem?
That's where things get really interesting. France seems to be ahead of the curve, actually. They've got this program called Conseillers Numériques.
Conseillers Numériques?
Yeah, they've created like 4,000 new jobs, specifically for people to provide in-person digital assistance.
Wow, that's impressive. What do these digital advisors actually do?
They help anyone who needs it with online stuff. Could be anything from using a government website to setting up an email account.
So they're like tech support, but in person.
Yeah, kind of. It's really hands-on and recognizes that sometimes people just need a human touch, especially if they're not comfortable with tech.
Makes sense. It's not just about teaching the skills. It's about giving them the confidence to actually use them.
Exactly. And it's not all coming from the government either. France has a whole network of organizations doing free digital skills training.
Oh, wow. Like where?
Libraries, community centers, even local businesses are getting in on it.
That's awesome. It sounds like a real community effort to bring everyone on board.
Hmm.
Any specific programs that stand out?
A few that caught my eye are PIX, Clics, and Solidarité Numérique. They have online courses, tutorials, all sorts of things.
And they cater to different levels, right? Not everyone's starting from the same point.
Exactly. That's key to making it accessible for everyone.
France really sounds like they're leading the way here. What about Canada and the US? Are they doing anything similar?
Well, maybe not as extensive as France's Conseil Numérique, but they're making progress in their own ways. Canada, for example, has been working on increasing internet access in rural areas and providing digital literacy programs specifically for seniors.
Yeah, you can start with the basics, right? Get everyone connected and then tailor the training to specific needs. What about the US? What's happening over there?
It's a lot more decentralized in the U.S. Lots of nonprofits and community groups are taking the lead. They're doing some great work, particularly focusing on low-income communities and making sure kids are safe online.
So many different approaches,
Hmm.
but all with the same goal in mind. It highlights how digital literacy is a global challenge, really.
It is. And one thing that really stood out to me is the growing need for people who can help with all of this, like digital mediators, digital literacy trainers. It's becoming a real career path.
Interesting. A challenge creating new opportunities, huh? But let's zoom in a bit. What are some of the essential digital skills people need these days? I mean, it's more than just using a computer, right?
Way more. It's about thinking critically, being able to navigate the online world safely and effectively. It really is. It's not just about knowing how to use the tech. You have to be able to think for yourself online, stay safe, all of that.
So it's more than just clicking around and knowing some shortcuts. What are we really talking about here?
Well, I'd say it starts with being able to find the information you need, but it's also about knowing if that information's any good and, of course, protecting your privacy online.
So it's about using technology in a smart and responsible way.
Exactly. Being able to tell fact from fiction, knowing how to spot biases and misinformation, and making informed choices based on what you find online.
It sounds like digital literacy has a lot in common with media literacy and those critical thinking skills you need to navigate all the information out there.
You're absolutely right. And it goes beyond just taking in information. It's also about creating and sharing things responsibly, knowing that what you put online has consequences for you and others.
So it's about digital citizenship, too. Knowing your rights and responsibilities in the online world and interacting with others in a way that's both ethical and respectful.
That's a great way to put it. It's about creating a positive, inclusive online environment where everyone feels safe and can participate freely.
This deep dive into digital literacy has been really eye-opening. It's definitely a complex issue with consequences for us all, both individually and as a society.
No doubt about it. And as our world becomes more digital, we really need to prioritize education and support for digital literacy.
So what can our listeners do to contribute to a more inclusive digital world?
Oh, there's so many ways to make a difference. You could volunteer with an organization that teaches digital skills, or even just be patient and helpful when a friend or family member is struggling with technology.
Sometimes even the smallest gestures can help someone overcome their fear or frustration with technology.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of simply spreading the word about useful online tools and platforms that promote digital literacy.
It's a team effort, and every bit counts.
Well said. And for those who want to learn more about digital literacy and check out some of the resources we've talked about, don't forget to check out the show notes for this episode.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive into digital literacy, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help us reach that 1,000 subscriber goal. It really means a lot. Your support helps us bring these important conversations to more and more people.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay curious and stay connected.